So this is a pronunciation guide for Segalariak. I just want to go a little bit slower and in more detail, and I'm going to, if you're following along with your IPA sheet, that's really easy. If not, you don't have to have in front of you. I'm going to just explain each sound that's, going to be unfamiliar to an English speaker, and just talk about it. And then afterwards, I'm going to recite the whole thing straight through. So the first line here is Sega, Teshta, Ashtera, Doa, Wazin, or Wasin. So the G there, or what's written as G in Basque, is like a fricative G. So you would put your mouth and your tongue in the same position as you when you're saying a G, G. But it's a little bit softer because it's fricative. So instead of G, it's G. Sega. Not sega, sega. It's not back in your throat. It's not R, but it's just it's the same place you would say a G. It's just like a little bit softer. So sega. And then those S's there in Beshta and Ashtera. So Basque has this thing where they have what's written in Basque as S and Z, and they both make an S sound, but what is written as S is kind of like sh. It's kind of like right in between an S and an SH in English. So you're putting your tongue on the alveolar ridge, which is the little ridge right above your teeth. Sh, sh. So it's kind of right in between an S and an SH. Honestly, you can just approximate it as either one. It probably doesn't matter too much for sound. But that is the technical difference between what is written as S and what is written as Z in the music. So the Z there is just a S, like a regular S sound. But what's written as S there is a sh. So, oh, and the only other weird thing about this line is that the D is the, like in the word the or then, so like a TH sound. And that applies to all of the D's except one, which we'll talk about. So the first line then, Sega, Teshta, Ashtera, Doa, Wasin. Okay, next line. Yaum, patam, patam tam. Pretty basic. That I there is just a Y sound, yeah. And the T there is technically a dental T, which is very, very subtle and really doesn't matter that much, but it's kind of maybe duh. It's a T where your tongue is a little bit like out, kind of maybe between your teeth. So instead of t, it's duh. But that's very subtle. So yam patam patam tam. Next line. Okay, video got interrupted there, but we're on the third line. Segalariak videan datos. So again, you have that fricative G, Segalariak. That R is like a r. You never say r. The R's in here are all either r or r. So if it's a single R, it's like a tap. Segalariak. And then if it's a double R, which I think we'll see later, it's more of a r. I think that's kind of intuitive though. I think most of us know how to roll our R's. Videan. So the B here it's another like fricative B. So remember how I said like the G was in the same place in the mouth that you would say normal G, with the tongue up against your hard palate, or soft palate. I don't remember the term, but it's the same place as a G, but it's like softer, more fricative. It's the same with the B. So a B is a bilabial sound, so it's said with your two lips pressing together. except this one is a fricative. So instead of but, it's the. So it kind of sounds a little bit like a V, or maybe W, but it's really like, it's a voiced bilabial fricative. So it's just kind of the. It's just kind of a blowing of air out between the lips, maybe like a tension between the lips. Videan. Segalariak videan datos. And again, you have that SZ contrast, so that's written there as a Z in the music, so it's said as an S sound rather than a sh. So Segalariak videan datos. Next line, umore ones. I feel like that's nothing really new there. Umore ones. Next line, toloshako lare savalak. So we have another of those. Just remember the S and Z contrast there. Toloshako sh. Lare. So here we have what's written as a double R in Basque. So that would be like kind of a rolled R. Lare. Savalak. So we have the Z there, which is a S, and then the B there, which is another V. Savalak. So toloshako lare savalak. Next line, lantseko asmos. So a lot of Z's here, which you just remember are S sound. Lantseko asmos. Okay. Next line, garko leyan hakingo dugu. So here we have a hard G, and I guess the rule in Basque is that like if it's at the beginning of a word, it's a hard G, and not a fricative G. But then we also have koazin, which is a fricative G. I don't know what the rule is, but anyway, this is just a hard G here for some reason. Garko leyan. So it's written there as like an H sound, but it's just a Y. Leyan. Hakingo. So we have what's written as a J, but it's a H. It's technically like a fricative K. So remember how like a fricative G is just instead of G, it's G. A fricative K would be instead of K, it's H. So you can say it like H, or you can say it like H, maybe a little bit farther back in your throat. I don't think it really matters. But H, just, you can think of it maybe as like a hard H as well. So hakingo, dugu. So that, remember that G is a the, and the G is a G, dugu. Next line, chapelduna norden. So the TX there at the beginning is ch, exact same as an English CH sound. Chapelduna, remember the D is the. And then den here, we get, for some reason, the only D in the entire piece of music that is actually pronounced as a D, and not a the. So, norden. So just remember that, that's just a regular D. And then, next line, we have lagun quadrilla denak sai daude. So lagun, again, G, lagun, so that's soft G. Quadrilla. So here we have what is written here as like an L, but is transcribed in IPA as an upside down Y. So this is a sound that, if you're familiar with the Italian language at all, it is the exact same as the Italian sound GLI. So if you speak Italian, you know that you don't say GLI as glee, but you say it as like glia. So it's hard to describe how to say it, but it is a palatal lateral approximant. Yeah. It's really hard to describe how you would say that. It's like maybe like an L, but like maybe like a hard L, you can think of it. Yeah. I don't know how else to describe how to say it other than just saying it. So, quadrilla. Lagun quadrilla. Venak sai daude. That's all stuff we've gone over. Next line. Nois ashigo then. Oh, did I say nois ashiko then? So, yeah, again, that Z is a S. The H is silent there. I think all H's at the beginning of words are silent. Asiko. It's a K. I think I said it like a G before, but no, that's just a K. Regular K. Then. And then we have another D that's a the. Yeah. Next line. Segak pikatweyin dituste. Or dituste. Sorry, that's just a... Okay, so segak. Okay. Pikatweyin. I think that's all stuff we know. Dituste. So that's a Z, so it's a S. Dituste. Segak pikatweyin dituste. Okay, I think that's all stuff we know. Next line. Ari sorotses. So we have a lot of the double R, which is a rolled R. R. Yeah, I mean, if you don't know how to say a rolled R, R, I really, I don't know how to describe how to do it. It's kind of like a D sound, but it's just like trilled. R. I think most of you know how to do it, and there are lots of tricks that people use to say a rolled R. So you'll figure it out. Ari sorotses. And also these are all Z's, so you say them like a S. Okay, next one. Va serial veko velar danak. So we have another B, another fricative B, the. It sounds like a V. Sounds like a V, like Victor, V, but it's not. You can maybe approximate it with a V, and maybe that would be fine for performance purposes, but technically it is a bilabial the. So see how my lips are like pursed together. Va serial veko. Okay. Velar. So that's just a single R, so you would say it like velar. Like a very little tap. Instead of a full rolled R like those double R's are, it's just a little tap. Velar. Danak. Interrupted again, sorry. And the lighting is low. Oopsie, the sun is setting, but that's fine. You don't really need to see me. Where were we? Ondo chaso, or no, that's a S. Ondo chasho vitesen. Ondo, okay. The D is a the. Chaso, again, another ch. It doesn't really matter too much for this one. The reason I say, like, for the G, I don't want you to say it back in your throat. It's really a g rather than a r. You know the difference between, like, whether it's back in your throat or kind of like up in your mouth. G. I really want the G to be up in your mouth. But for the what's written in Basque as a J, it is transcribed as a fricative K, so it technically should be pronounced ch up in your mouth. But it's also fine for the J to be pronounced back in your throat, ch, because like that's in recordings it can be back in your throat. But if you want to say them both up in your mouth for consistency, that would technically be correct. Ondo chasho. The S there, it's a little bit hard for me to say it, honestly, because it's sh. It's sh. It does take some getting used to. And if you want to approximate it with an SH or an S, I guess that's probably fine. Because it is kind of hard to get in between the S and the sh. But it's a sh. Ondo chasho vitesin. Okay, cool. Next line. Panvero trikitri sonjuak. Panvero trikitri. So remember, you never want to say tra. You never want to say a r sound. That is a very characteristically English sound. And actually, fun fact, English is one of like, oh goodness, it's like, I think it's like under 10% of languages that have the r sound, like worldwide. It's a very characteristically English sound. So we want to avoid the r. Always do a r or a r. Panvero trikitri sonjuak. So the N there is a nya. This is a new sound. This is a palatal nasal, and it is similar to, actually it's exactly the sound in English, onion or opinion or union, nya, lasagna, nya. You can think of it as maybe like an N followed by a Y, nya. So we have sonjuak. Sonjuak. That's 3 syllable. Sonjuak. Panvero trikitri sonjuak. Next line. Ta dansari pinyak. We have another nya. Ta dansari pinyak. Okay, cool. I think there's nothing new there. Next line. Chai giroa o shatsin zute. Chai, again, the J is a ch, chai. We have a hard G again. So most of our G's are g, but this one is a hard G. Giroa. Chai giroa o shatsin. So this is a tricky one because we have the S and the Z sound at the same word. So you have to remember o sh, o shat sin. If you want to say them both as S's, I'm sure that's fine. It's a very subtle difference, honestly, but I like to have that. So you could say it as osatsin. Technically, it's osatsin. Zute. Okay. Next line. Inguruawetan. So this is another one. We've seen a couple of these so far where we have these 2 words that are just elided together. You know, that's just one of them. Inguruawetan. Oh, and that's another. This one is easy to remember that this one is a hard G because you have an NG. So inguru. So you probably wouldn't even think to turn that into a soft G, because how do you do that when you have an N right there? Inguruaweta. You don't do the soft G there. Inguruawetan. Next line. We have another hard G. Gure sega pesta. Or sega pesta. Gure sega. Sega. That's a soft G. So we have a hard G. Gure. A soft G. Sega pesta. Cool. Next line. Orain asiejingo da. Orain. Okay. Orain Asyeyingo da. So this is another 2 words added together we have here. Remember the H is silent. Asyeyingo. Yeah, I mean, I think we know all those sounds individually. It's just maybe a tricky thing to put together because you have a soft G and then a hard G. Asyeyingo da. Next line. Llega pesta as dadilla. Okay, so that ya sound looks like this is our second one, so we only have 2 in the whole song. But it's just, I feel like an important one to get down because it's very like characteristic. You know, it's very, very obvious when we're saying it. There's a very obvious difference between l, if you were to say it like a l, like it's written in Basque as a l, versus if you were to say lia. Like that difference is very audible. So I feel like that's an important one to get. But yeah, it's hard for me to think of like a trick to pronouncing that. So hopefully you can get it just by hearing that. So cool, we've done everything. And I am just going to, wow, it's really dark. It's really dark, oopsie. I'm just going to recite the whole thing, start to finish. No more commentary. Sega pesta astera doa goasin. Yaum patam tam. Segalariak videan datos umore ones. Tolosako lare savalak. Lanseko asmos. Garko leyan hakingo dugu. Chapel duna norden. Lagun quadrilla denak sai daude. Nois asiko den. Segak pikatwein dituste. Ari sorotses. Va serial veko velar zanak. Ondo hasho vitesen. Pandero trikitri soñuak. Ta danzari finyak. Hai giroa o shatsen zute. Inguruawetan. Gure shega pesta. Orain asyeyingo da. Shega pesta as dadilla.